Hello and welcome to another edition of Acoustic Northeast, where we talk about the singers, songwriters, and acoustic music scene in the Northeast
United States.
And we interview musicians who play live for us right here in the studio and for you. I'm co-host Dave Goldenberg.
And where is our studio, Dave Goldenberg?
It's in beautiful Brewster, New York.
Right, exactly.
In your basement.
And I am co-host George Malice. We are sponsored, believe it or not, we have sponsors. And our first sponsor is hereathere.com, and that's Elisa Zuckerberg. You go to their site, and musicians can post their gigs there. Or if you're interested in going out to listen to music, she sends out a newsletter every Thursday morning, so you know what's going on in the tri-state area. We are also brought to you by WBXO Internet Radio, and also by Hudson Harding Folk Radio Promoters.
You can listen to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and also on YouTube, acousticnortheast.com, and on WBXO.com, and you probably know that because you're listening right now. Today in the studio, we have a terrific musician called Glenn Roth. We've seen Glenn Roth play. He's pretty terrific. He records, he tours. And Glenn, why don't we start it out with a song?
All right. Thanks, guys. A song of mine called Keeper of the Plains.
Wow.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
That is gorgeous.
Thank you.
Again, we have Glenn Roth in studio today. Glenn, you're a fingerstyle guitarist,
Yes,
am I
yes,
correct?
yes.
And I'm watching you play, and I believe you're in an open tuning. Can you tell me a little about that?
Yeah, so, of course I started playing guitar in standard tuning as a kid, but as I discovered people like, Alex DeGrassi, Pierre Bensusan, Michael Hedges, kind of dove into a world of exploring the open tunings. So yeah, this is an E-flat, open E-flat tuning. And the reason it's E-flat is because when I first learned it, it was at a higher key. I think I learned this from Alex DeGrassi, the guitarist Alex DeGrassi had a song that's in like A sharp, and I didn't want to tune the guitar up that high, so I just adapted it down a whole step, and it's pretty much, similar to Dadgad.
Right.
It's just like it's right off there. If I keep going flat, it would be Dad Fad. It would be F sharp, I believe. But yeah, it's just a tuning I really like, this particular one.
I love the harmonics that you were able to pull out of that.
Thanks.
Really resonated. Also, tell us a little bit about where you're getting that incredible tone. Now, folks, we don't have the reverb turned up here, so tell us about that.
So I got my acoustic Larrivee LO3. I've had this guitar for 25 years now, I believe. And on the back of it, I have a device called the Tonewood amp. And it's basically an amplifier that connects to the back of the guitar, sends a vibration through the wood, and then it'll send an effect out of the sound hole, just like your guitar becomes the amplifier, basically.
So it resonates right through the guitar.
Yep.
Wow, that live reverb is a little disorienting even.
It sticks to the back, and the unit has like distortion and delay, has different effects.
So it's about the size of a sandwich, right?
Yep, size of a sandwich, and it's a nifty little device I've been using for last, 8 years or so. And
How do you get it to stick to the guitar?
there's a magnet that I installed inside the guitar that came with the device, and kind of have to permanently glue it inside the guitar, which is a little nerve-wracking, but put it in the guitar, and I have the magnet in a few different of my acoustics at home, so I could only, I throw the Tonewood on those particular guitars, yeah.
And does it have like a piezo pickup in there, or how are you feeding into the Tonewood amp?
Well, I'm just using my onboard pickup I have on the Larrivee, which is the Element, the LR Bags Element. Love this pickup. And just plugged in through a PA system, this guitar is a beast,
As we dive into the weeds, guitar wonk talk.
Yeah. All you guitar nerds, a lot of people know about the Tonewood amp, but if you don't, definitely check it out.
So while we're on talking about that kind of stuff, what strings do you use? Because I think you have somebody.
Good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my big endorsements that I'd like. Glad you brought that up. But yeah, I've been endorsing Elixir guitar strings for the last 15 years almost. They've been super great to me, great company. And when I first started doing 3-hour gigs, the skin on my fingers were killing me, And I discovered these coated strings. So I used NanoWeb, Phosphor Bronze, Elixirs exclusively. Yeah, I just tested out one of their new strings called A-Tune. And those are really nice as well. I was thinking about switching over to those, but I think I'm going to stay loyal to this.
I just wear gloves while I play.
Yeah.
It doesn't really hurt my playing much. So
I'm particular on the strings. Yeah, like some people leave them on and just don't even think about them. But to me, because I'm really engulfed with the fingerstyle. I need some nice strings. I need a nice tone.
So you're devoted to pretty much. I know you sing as well, but you're pretty much devoted to instrumental music.
Yeah.
And there was a time during our youth, maybe, where instrumental music was much more popular. There were hits on the radio that were just instrumental music, and now people tend to think of it in a different way. What happened with instrumental music, and what's happening now?
Well, I think it depends where you look, So I'm engulfed in it. So I could drop and name a lot of upcoming artists like Marson and Pittori Seriola, and I could go on and on naming all these people. Andy McKee, who are like the at the apex of fingerstyle guitar with Tommy Emmanuel. He's like the grand master, and that's just my opinion, and I'm engulfed in the world, so I know a lot about it. So there are still hit songs happening. They're just not on the radio.
Right.
Yeah,
What brought you to being a fingerstyle guitarist?
Yeah. So I was in a band called Fountain Project back in 2002. Prior to that, 99 or so. And I was into a magazine called Fingerstyle Guitar Magazine that came with the CD, and it came with tablature. So I was able to learn a Michael Hedges song or a Tommy Emmanuel song from the magazine.
Explain tablature to people who might not know what it is.
Yeah, tablature is a music notation. It's just a translation of music notes using the frets. The frets as numbers, basically. So you have the 6 strings versus a staff versus a music staff. And basically it's just all numbers that represent the string, the frets on each string.
I wanted to, that brings me to your website, which is glenroth.com.
Yeah, glenroth.com.
Glenn Roth. And I also saw that when I was, doing a little bit of research on you, that you do have tablatures on your website, which I thought was really cool. Mm-hmm. And for people who like what they're hearing, you can go to Glenn's website and you can, for a small stipend,
pretty much, yeah,
you can get them.
Yeah, shout out to my friend Stephen Bennett. We were just speaking of prior to the show, but he and other musicians inspired me, but he particularly, he has a lot of tabs on his site. So I started doing that years ago, tabbing out songs that I arranged or my originals. So I've put up a handful of tunes there that you could check out and you could learn if you're into tablature.
Yeah.
Speaking about arrangements, you have some arrangements of popular songs which are really cool.
Yeah.
How do you develop the arrangements? Where do they come from?
Yeah. So I typically first just stumble upon a song and I'm like, this is a great song, whether it's a Beatles song or a Seal song or Phil Collins, any song I like that has a strong melody that speaks to me. I'll normally get the sheet music for it, particularly through a site called Music Notes, and you could change the key. So, I arranged Bohemian Rhapsody and I changed the key into the key of A because it was more friendly for me on the guitar. And then I basically start reading the notes. I read music. So I would start reading the melody notes and lining them up with the chord progression and putting it together like a puzzle like that. And then, basically a relation between the melody notes and the chords.
When you're playing a song like Bohemian Rhapsody in a venue, do people find themselves singing along?
Yeah, there's a lot of great things that have happened. You guys could look it up on YouTube. There's a few different videos I've posted of crowds singing it with me, and
that's fun.
I was lucky enough to see it live when I was down. Glenn did a gig down in Marco Island Center for the Arts back in February of 2026, and I happened to be down there. And I think that was the last song that you played of the night.
Like my finale,
and I was, I was sitting there, and I was just, believe me, I was like, wow. But I was looking at the crowd.
Yeah, it was a good night that night.
Yeah, it was a good night, but it was just so cool to see. Yeah, people are singing. Mm-hmm. And they're just so into it because everybody knows that song. And there's so many different sections of that song where it just goes off in totally different areas.
It's been interesting depending on where I do it. If I do it at a bar with some intoxicated people, the parts get off, the melodies get off. They sometimes get ahead of me, and it could really mess me up if they don't stay on with me,
I guess one nice thing being about an instrumental player is you can play in a venue like a bar without getting angry that people aren't giving you their full attention.
Yeah. It's a tricky scene. That's why I added the vocals to certain venues, So I play instrumentally, at performance venues and at my Subway gig. Or
and you're right. You're a busker, and that seems so interesting because people think in New York you can just pull out your guitar and start playing, but no, there's a whole process and it's all curated.
You can. It is a free thing. You could pull out the guitar and go for it. Lots of people do that. Back in 2003, my friend Wendy Gennady got me involved in it, and she got me the audition. She was my acting manager at the time, and she set up this audition with Music Under New York. And they hold
Music Under New York, that's the name of the series?
The MTA is the sponsor. And they have the audition every year. Anybody can audition. They bring in about 25 new acts every year. And I was fortunate to get the lifetime permit in 2004. So it's been 22 years. I cannot believe it.
Wow. What stations have the best acoustics?
Oh, man. Well, shout out to Grand Central, my favorite place. Yeah. I typically have gone all over. Penn Station is great, is vast. It's hard to play there. It's kind of a big hall there. But I like Grand Central a lot. And
can you go anytime you want, or do you have to?
Yeah, I sign up with the program, and I email my friend Paul every 2 weeks. And more recently, I've been just going to Grand Central. I have this spot there. I like it.
Where's your spot?
It's right off the tracks there, right when you get off the tracks, track 22.
Oh, in the main hall?
You'll see me near the what is it, the market, the Grand Central Market, or you could see me on the other side near the Starbucks and the train museum over there. So I go there. In the past years, I've gone to Penn Station, Whitehall Ferry Terminal. I mean, I used to go all over, but now as I get older, it's tough to get the gear down there, and Grand Central is an amazing venue. So I'm like, oh, I'll just play here now,
You must have some good stories, though.
Yeah. A notable person to tip me was Phil Lesh from the Grateful Dead.
Nice.
He kind of stopped, and we had a moment about 15 years ago, and I made this thing at my house called the Lesh Oriole. It's it's the $5 bill he gave me. And the permit I had for that day, it happened in Times Square. I used to play right in Times Square a lot.
He only gave you $5?
Gave me $5.
Wait, you weren't the naked cowboy, were you?
No, but I performed with him one day in Times Square. A quick funny story. He kind of came up and wanted to play with me. I had a gig and I was playing there busking. And he came up, and I was getting paid to do this performance, and he kind of kept bothering me, and I didn't want to get in trouble with the program. So I'm like, naked cowboy, you got to leave me alone.
Wow.
And so we did a song, we did a Willie Nelson song. It was kind of funny. Yeah. I can't think of the name, but
when you're writing, because I can't, Dave and I are both singer-songwriters, and we write lyrics and we write our music. What brings you to a melody? I mean, how do you go about?
Yeah.
Do you come down with an idea? You're thinking of something, or a chord progression, or
typically
what is it?
Starts with a lot of improvisation. I get into a tuning like, say, this tuning, and I start to figure out different chord shapes that represent different chords. It's a lot of improvisation until I find the melody, like in The Keeper of the Plains. I hit that melody and I'm like, that speaks to me, and then I kind of start going off it, and I try to have like an intro, a verse, a chorus, a bridge, just like a normal, song you would sing pretty much, but it really it's very improvised, but then I kind of map out exactly what I'm doing, and it's not improvised in the end, it's all, people ask, oh, did you just make that up? And I'm like, no, I did initially, but now it looks like I'm making it up, but it's really the same every time, potentially.
I think we should get another song here.
Yeah. So this tuning I'm in, I've written a few different songs in this one. And this is the other one I like to play in this tuning. This one's called La Fontana, the Fountain. right.
Wonderful. That's
Thank you.
Glenn
That is
Roth.
beautiful.
That sound is just, it's hypnotic. It's kind of
Thanks.
transcendent. In
Yeah, I
a
love
way.
playing that song. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm going to drop into a maybe standard tuning for the moment, see what's next, you know?
Yeah. Oh, good. I want to see how you handle that.
Yeah, so I'm just getting right back quickly, right? I'm already there. I'm back in standard tuning.
You can do it quickly. I like that.
Yeah.
One of the things about open mics, and we saw you recently at an open mic, and by the way, never look down on open mics because you hear some really amazing musicians
I
there.
agree. Yeah.
Totally agree. Totally agree. I mean, we've spoken to people, and I know people who just think it's beneath them, you know. And
I
it's
know,
like,
yeah.
it's like, what are you thinking? It's a great opportunity. First of
Yeah.
all, to play new stuff.
Yeah.
Second of all, to network and just get out there and play. Unless you just would rather be in your basement.
Yeah. I think it's a great thing, definitely.
And it's
especially the one we were at, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like you tour all over the country and the world.
Yeah. I've been on
So,
some crazy-
you know, and for you to be out there playing an open mic is like, you know.
Yeah, no, we're all musicians, you know, it depends, you know. But I think for me, I like going to them. It's particularly the ones that are, you know, early in the night and stuff like that, you know.
And listening rooms.
Yeah, I like how that one's structured. It's like 7 to 9 and boom, you're in and out, you know.
Yeah, the
It's
one
not
we're
like
talking about is in New Canaan, Connecticut at a First Presbyterian Church, and it's once a month on a Thursday night, the third Thursday of the month.
Yes.
And it's great.
Yeah.
Great, nice people and great snacks too, right? Dave?
Exactly.
Great
yeah.
snacks. Well, New
Yeah.
Canaan, I would expect nothing less than a nice spread.
Definitely.
You have recorded a bunch of albums. Is it 6?
You know, there's around 9, I think, but it's a lot of handful of original albums, and then 2 different cover CDs. Got It Covered 1 and 2 I put out that have done well on streaming services, and then the originals follow. You know, on the pecking order, I guess. You know, out on the streaming world. But yeah, that's the lineup of different albums.
How do you go about naming your songs?
Good question. Well, I name them after places I've been, or you know, things in my life, things that inspire me. So those 2 last tunes, "The Keeper of the Plains" is a place in Wichita, Kansas, a park that I hang out every year when I go on my trip to Kansas. I go to the Keeper of the Plains Park. It's a really cool, tranquil place just to hang out. So I wrote that song there, hanging out one day. And then the La Fontana is named after a room that my girlfriend Grace and I stayed in when we went to Venice. We went to this beautiful room, the La Fontana room, and it just was a special moment, you know? And I was
Kansas.
writing that song. I was sitting in the room going,
Wow.
doing that waltz thing, you know?
But Kansas?
Kansas.
That's a very popular vacation spot.
Yeah, exactly. Wichita.
What brings you to Kansas?
The International Fingerstyle Guitar Competition brings me to that area, but so I started going to the this fingerstyle guitar competition about 14 years ago. I started going, and I incorporated the Kansas State Fair into my tour. So each year I'll perform at the State Fair, and then I'll go down to a place called Winfield, Kansas, where this Walnut Valley Festival happens. It's the biggest bluegrass festival in Kansas. And then they have all these different competitions: auto harp, fiddle, mandolin, and fingerstyle guitar. And it's just a really unique place that I never thought I'd be hanging around in, and now I'm part of the community there. Like I've made a lot of friends there, and we're all convening at a new festival in Woodstock, Connecticut, August 28th weekend up in Woodstock. It's going to be an amazing festival with some world famous people.
August 28th,
Yep.
26th.
The whole weekend, August 27th to the 29th, I believe it is.
And what's the name of the festival?
Woodstock Fingerstyle Guitar Festival.
And how would people find out information about that?
Online, woodstockfingerstyleguitar.com, I believe, is the site. And it comes up on Google. And I'm going to be there performing along with world famous Alexander Misko, Alberto Lombardi, and all these Gareth Pearson, all these really heavy hitter fingerstyle guys are going to be there.
And why
Stephen
Woodstock?
Bennett. They just found that as the location. I'm not sure the organizer, John Donnell, Donnell, he just found that location. Yeah. So we're going to head up to Woodstock. All my friends from Kansas. Yeah.
I want to touch on one other subject before we ask you to close the show out with a song. But in talking before the podcast, we talked a little bit about that you're looking to maybe do a little singer-songwriter stuff going on.
Yeah.
Have you written stuff already?
Well, yeah, some stuff, definitely.
Some stuff.
Yeah, a lot of cover tunes. I perform at different restaurants and whatnot around the area, but I am working on some originals.
Cool.
And we'll have to try them out at the open mic, right, coming up?
Yeah.
And we'll have to have you back for that.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
We got to do a show just on your original tunes with you belting them out.
I would love to do that.
Yeah. But thank you again for coming out.
Yes, thank you guys for
Glenn's
having me
website is glenroth.com. Yes, two N's in Glenn. And you've got a ton of videos on there, YouTube videos.
Yeah, all over YouTube. There's over 300 videos that I've put up on YouTube since 2005. And my newest thing is TikTok. Check me out on TikTok and Instagram, and that's it. And I hope to see you out at a show somewhere, right?
Yeah, we will. Absolutely. Again, Glenn Roth. What are you going to close us out with?
I think the Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh,
I'm going to have to put my hand over
you know what
my
we're going to
mouth.
have to do? We're going to have to do like, what was the movie of those two guys?
Wayne's World.
Where they were shaking their heads up and down
I
when
want
it
to
came
see
to
your
the
best Wayne's World when I get to that moment. But yeah, this is a cool song. I started arranging over 10 years ago now. I've been playing this, and like I said, I changed the key of A, and I put every note together in my in my own way. Here it is, Bohemian Rhapsody. Thanks, guys.